Hello out there. I'm here. I'm just recording this video because I wanted to share a few stories with everybody out there. My family and I feel these are funny stories that we've had throughout our lives. And when you grow up in a small town like we did, there's not a whole lot to do. And not only that, when you get married and you have children, there's no shortage of funny stories when you have children. I'm telling you. As in, our oldest daughter, she's 13 now, but back when she was younger, we had just had her baby sister. And it was our oldest daughter's first birthday since we had her baby sister. So everybody's coming in and wants to see the new baby, kind of making the older daughter jealous of everybody wanting to see the other sister, even though it's her birthday. So everybody kind of gathers outside. It's a nice day outside, and it was just me left in the house with the older daughter, with the two girls. And the baby sister was in her bouncer, you know, one of the little things that bounce up and down. It's got the little metal bar, and I saw the wheels turning. I saw the evil wheels turning, and there was nothing I could do about it. She walks over, looks at her, kind of pats her on the head a little bit, kind of looks at me and gives me that look like, you know what I'm thinking, but I really didn't. She takes her foot and steps on the back of the bouncer right behind her head and takes the bouncer all the way down to the floor and gives me the look like, say one more thing to me. And all I could think of is don't. And I went to get up, and as soon as I went to get up, she lifted her chubby little leg off of that thing. The bouncer, no lie, flipped right over. Baby on her face. Now, answer me this. What do you do at that point? You get up, you go check on the baby, and what's she doing? She's laughing, giggling, thinks it's funny. The older daughter runs outside and goes to Mama because she knows she's in trouble, but Mama's going to save her. These are the kinds of things that happen in my family, I'm telling you folks. You know, the older daughter and my oldest son had an idea one day. They were going to make us breakfast in bed. They were not old enough to use any utilities at all whatsoever, nor were they even old enough to go in the fridge by themselves. They come and wake us up and say, Mama, Daddy, we made you breakfast, and the only thing that ran through my mind is, what's broken in the house? So we walk through the house, and there's nothing in the kitchen. There's no food in the kitchen, no food in the dining room, and we're just like wondering, where did this all take place? We walk into their bedroom. Sure enough, people, there's eggs on the floor, bacon, sausage, hash browns, the whole 9 yards, all over the carpet. And there's my son sitting there crouched down next to the eggs, making the sizzling sound, spatula in hand. It's almost ready, go get a plate. What? Okay. First of all, you know, it would have been, probably would have been a little more okay if at least there would have been a pan under the food. But no, flat out, straight on the floor, sitting there making the stove noises. You know, it was a fun mess to clean up, you know, I have to admit. Now, you know, along the way with having kids, we all work, we all had to have jobs, and I've had some of the strangest jobs in the world. I worked at a hog farm, and I worked with a couple of friends at a hog farm, and I never knew how much fun you could have around large animals and a lot of poop. Really, I didn't. But, so they send me over to one side of the barns to go feed some of the pigs, and they were going over to the other side together. The one boss comes running to me with a flattened pop can, and not thinking anywhere in my mind how it got flat, I grabbed it full-handed and kind of looked at it. I said, yeah, what's the big deal about a flat pop can? Really? I mean, people stomp on them, they crush them on their head, they do crazy stuff. I mean, we all know this. He says, the other guy crushed it with his butt. Now, people, I ask you, when you get a can that's flattened, when it looks as if somebody stepped on it, long ways, standing up, and someone brings it to you and says he flattened it with his butt. I didn't want to, but I had to ask how. I had to. So I asked how. The man took his butt cheeks and spread them so far that the pop can fit in there sideways. Then he crunched his butt cheeks together and crushed it, and I tell you, it was flatter than any can that I have ever seen in my life. And through all of this, no lie, I'm still holding the can. This can had been in a man's butt crack, and I'm still holding on to it. Why? I don't know, just maybe the amazement or whatever. Still a funny story. We were living in a trailer park in Flint at one time, and there's no shortage of fun in Flint, especially when, well, my family is Mexican, but some of us are whiter than white. I mean, I don't know what happened there, but when you're the only partial white people within like a 3-mile radius, there's lots of fun to be had. And we're living in a trailer park less than a mile away from the airport. Put all the kids to bed, they're all sleeping in the bedroom, everything's nice and fine and quiet and everything. Quietest night we had heard in a while. And wouldn't you know it, a jet decides to take off from the airport. Flint International. So, we're sitting there and it shakes the trailer. I mean, literally shaking. We're all sitting there trying to catch stuff falling off of shelves, and all we hear is kids screaming, scared. They don't know what in the world's going on. I think they thought the world was ending. We hear them run across the floor, and I kid you not, I thought they were going to come through the wall. They hit the door so hard because it was dark in their room, and they could not see. They hit it so hard I thought the wall was going to come down. They're screaming, fiddling with the doorknob, trying to get out. Finally they get out, wah, 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 screaming, crying because they don't know what's happening, and we're sitting there laughing. I can only guess that it only confuses a kid more when they're screaming and crying out of dire fear for their life, because the house that they are sleeping in is shaking to the point it wakes them up, and yet their parents are standing there laughing about it. I mean, what thoughts goes through a child's mind at that point? It's either my parents are crazy or they're extremely drunk, which we were neither. But you know, we had to explain to them, calm them down. It's just an airplane, you know. So we took them down the next day, showed them, you know, they were a little bit better about it after that. While also living in Flint, a friend of mine I hadn't seen for a while. See, like I said earlier, we grew up in a small town, and many of you who will be watching this at first will know, you know, Sealing, very small community. I think in the last 30 years there has been probably one African American family that's lived there in 30 years. So, you know, and the girl we were staying with, knowing this, you know, she's still clueless. But anyway, a friend of mine I got a hold of after not talking to for years, and he says, you know what? I'm coming home off the road for a week. Maybe I can get dropped off at the bus station. You guys can come get me. I'll come stay with you for a couple days. Cool, man. Cool. Excited to see you. All right, I'll see you on such and such a day at such and such a time. Okay, so we go there. The bus stop is at the Kroger's. We're driving down there, you know. She's like, how are we going to figure out which one he is? I'm like, oh, I'm sure he'll stick out like a sore thumb. As all we country folk do, you know, we're kind of backwater, you know, and when you live in the city, you know it. So we come around, and there's literally probably 100 people standing at the bus stop. I don't know what was going on today, but there's literally probably 100, and 99 of them were Flint natives, you know, African American. One person is white, and the girl that gave us a ride down there looks at me and says, which one is he? I would have to imagine he's the one white guy in a Carhartt jacket, smoking a cigarette with a trash bag over his shoulder with his clothes in it. Now, probably, I mean, living in Flint, probably it's not a strange thing to see a man with his clothes in a garbage bag, but really, 99 other people, and they're all African American, and one white guy. And you gotta ask me which one he is. Okay? It was funny, I have to admit, and, you know, we had some good times while I was there, and I'll never forget picking him up at the bus stop. Going back to the family life, going back to the kids, my oldest daughter, she's my stepdaughter. I admit we're related by marriage, and we had a long road. When I first got back together with my wife, and it was slow going. She really didn't like me there, and she did things just to get on my nerves, just so that I'd yell, just to get me in trouble. And one particular time my wife was off working third shift. She worked 12-hour shifts, and normally the oldest daughter would stay awake with me and we'd play video games or watch movies together, whatever. So she got in trouble one night for something. I can't remember what it was. I sent her to her room for probably 15 minutes, went and got her up, asked her if things were better. She said yes, and we went along our business. My wife would get home about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, so I'd start making breakfast for her about 5:30. So I asked the daughter, I says, would you like to help me make breakfast for Mom? Oh yeah, sure. So we went and made breakfast, and by the time I get done cooking, I'm ready to eat. So I'd sit down and eat, and then when my wife got home, she'd eat, and I'd sit there and talk to her. Well, since it was done and since the daughter was awake, I said, do you want some breakfast? Yeah, sure. She had it all. Eggs, bacon, sausage, hash browns, pancakes, everything you could ask for. We're sitting there getting along, having a good conversation. She says, okay, I'm a little tired, I'm ready for bed. Okay, go have a good sleep. So she trots off to bed. About 15-20 minutes later, my wife shows up at home, and I'm in the bathroom when the door opens and closes. As soon as that door shuts, I heard little pitter-patter feet running across the floor. Mama, Mama, Daddy spanked me and he beat me and he put me in bed and wouldn't let me out of bed. I'm going, and there's nothing I can do. I'm in the bathroom. How can I fight my battle when I'm in the bathroom? This little girl turned on me. I tell you what, she, I made her breakfast, big old breakfast, and she turned on me, telling stories that never even happened, just to get me in trouble. And of course, I'm getting screamed at by the wife, and what's the daughter doing? She is giggling over in the corner, because she knew she got me in trouble. It wasn't until a few years later when we actually caught her in a lie. My wife started to bleed me. Kind of fixed the situation. At one time, living out in the country, a bunch of my friends decided to get drunk and stupid. Decided to have a big party, bonfire. And we got the idea that instead of going in the house, since it was such a nice night out, we were going to set up tents that night. Everybody's going to sleep in the tents, have a good old time. The thing we forgot to do was set up the tents before we started drinking. Now, 5 drunks and a tent, 2 tents, is not a good idea. We're trying to put up the tents, and of course, every time we think we got one side up, we go to the next side and it falls down. It's stupid. It's not a good situation. So we decided we were going to have someone on each side holding it up while the 5th one went around and putting stakes in. Well, that idea kind of ran out kind of quick when I'm standing there holding up 3 sides of the tent by myself, and 4 other drunks are trying to put up one side. Can I get a little help here, fellas? I got 3 sides by myself. Don't worry, I'm okay over here while you're working on one stake. I mean, don't rush yourselves. And it wasn't until the next morning that we found out that we really didn't do a very good job putting up the tents. My wife went outside for something. She comes back in and wakes the 3 of us up that made it into the house. And she says, you might want to go get the tents. Where are they? I don't know. They're just not there anymore. We go running outside, and there they are. Sure as I am standing here today, they were about a mile or so out in the field, rolling across the field. Now, as bad as it was being drunk and putting up a tent and having the complications that we did, there is no substitute and no worse time than being hungover and chasing tents miles out into a field. And then trying to find all the stakes that flew out on the way out there. Not an easy job. I would have rather they stay standing, and the drunk part was the worst part of my night.
Wait.
Oh. Okay, so folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you laugh as much as we do. I have plenty more coming your way. As long as you can leave a comment, let me know you liked it. As long as some people liked it, I will be posting more. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you laughed a little bit today. Enjoy the rest of your life. God bless you. See you later.